The OECD forecasts the South Korean economy will not grow as much as expected in 2024. But overall, things are looking better globally this year. For more, we're joined by Professor Shin Se Don this morning. Welcome back, Professor.
Good morning.
Good morning. South Korea's finance ministry took a rather careful approach that regarding the OECD report, the 2.2 growth projection is based on the South Korean government's 2024 economic policy directions. Is that so? I mean, should we actually be concerned?
Well, we don't know why OECD has lowered its projection for economic growth for 2024. But during the 3 months between November and February, you could see that there has been two important developments in Korea. One is the stock market in Korea has been very sluggish in the month of January. Actually, the Kospi index has dropped about 7%, which is very rare compared to other countries. Another thing is for the last 3 months, consumer sales. Consumer sales has been dropping 2% in the fourth quarter of last year. So I think the very poor performances in stock market on the one hand, and very poor performances in retail sale for the last quarter of 2023, I think that has made OECD to lower economic projection by 1/10 percentage point.
That's a very good point. But Professor, some experts say it's going to be actually hard to feel the 2% growth rate this year. What does that mean? I mean, if we just look at the numbers, it doesn't make sense considering South Korea only posted 1.4% growth last year.
Right. Even if, Korea grows at about 2% this year, many people don't feel it's better than last year, at which, the growth rate was 1.4%. There are, I think, about 3 reasons. One, there has been developing a huge pile of inventory. Those inventory is regarded as investment, and it is included, and it makes economic growth a little higher. So one problem is huge stockpile of inventory that has made people to feel less about, 2% economic growth. And second thing is, huge reduction in import. Last year, import has been decreased about 12%, and that decrease in 12% in imports is going to contribute to higher economic growth. Another point, third point, which is very important in Korea, is the 2% economic growth is contributed by a small number of industries like semiconductors and automobile. So all the other industries are feeling very poor performances in 2023 and this year 2024. So inventory and negative imports and the polarization, I think, is the reason why people don't feel Korean economy is growing 2%.
Definitely. Professor Shin, we also have to talk about the global economy on the front. Now, that is expected to expand at 2.9%. That's up from an estimate of 2.7% announced back in November. Can we see this as a brighter outlook? I mean, it's still lower than the 2023 annual growth of 3.1%.
Yeah. Well, one reason is, surprisingly, United States economy is growing very fast. Everybody believed, by interest rate higher than 5%, definitely United States economy would go down. But that was not true. 2023, it is projected to be 2.5% in the United States. Still, the OECD and the many institutions believe that economic growth this year for the United States will be a little lower, but surprisingly very high. That is one thing that the global economy, it seems to be better. And another thing is inflation is stabilizing very fast. So that means that sooner or later, all over the world, the central banks will be lowering the interest rate. And that lowerment in interest rate will contribute to increase in consumption, increase in investment. That's why the year 2024 is better than 2023, and 2025 will be still better than 2024. So I think the resilience in the United States economy and a very fast stabilization of inflation globally, that I think is going to contribute future, prospects a little better than we would have expected in the past.
I see. Professor Shin, I know we still have a long way to go, but OECD believes the growth in the global economy to hit 3% in 2024 next year. Where is this confidence coming from?
Yeah, that is, as I said, U.S. economy is doing pretty good, and especially many countries like India, Indonesia, Australia, Italy, those countries are surprisingly doing pretty good, except for possibly China, and in this case, Korea. They lowered the economic projection a little bit, but generally speaking, I think inflation is going to stabilize. And the U.S. and many other European countries are doing pretty good. That I think will contribute for better future in 2024 and possibly 2025.
So it's based on the better than expected performance by major countries, maybe not the China, but U.S., Italy, like you said, G7 countries, right?
Right.
All right, Professor Shin Se Don, thank you as always for your insight. You have a great day.
Always my pleasure.